Pyramus was a boy, Thisbe a girl. Can I make it any more obvious? I don't know if he was a punk or she did ballet. I don't believe Ovid mentioned. Hi, I'm Kristy. Welcome to Weird and Witchy Shit, a place for, well, weird and witchy shit. Here we talk about everything from the magic of yoga, rituals, tarot, crystals, astrology, self-love, mental health, spiritual stuff, spooky things, and anything of the mystical variety. So if that sounds like the kind of shit you're into, then you're in the right place, my friend. Welcome to the coven. Pyramus and Thisbe were a young Babylonian boy and girl who just happened to be next door neighbours. But unfortunately, their families had been bitter rivals and sworn enemies for generations, so the pair had never been allowed to speak to each other. I'm sure that I've also heard before that the fathers of both families were brothers and they were like rivals and hated each other, but it doesn't really matter. All you need to know is all contact forbidden. But what the parents didn't know is that the wall between them that separated both houses had a teeny tiny little crack in it. Pyramus and Thisbe had actually always kind of secretly admired each other from a distance, so when they noticed this crack in the wall, they started to talk to each other through it. At first they were quite cautious, but they quickly realised that they actually quite liked each other and eventually began to fall in love with one another. They believed that in spite of their families' differences, the pair were soulmates. So for a long time they would sneak to the crack in the wall, talking to each other, whispering sweet nothings to one another, but eventually this became not enough for the pair and they wanted to be together properly and they wanted to be married. So they devised a plan that they would both run away from their home, meet in secret and run off to get married. Later that night they decided that they would meet at the tomb of Ninnis under the mulberry tree that grew nearby. Thisbe was the first to arrive, and when she got there, instead of meeting Pyramus, she was instead met by a ferocious lioness whose jaws were dripping with the blood of an ox that she'd just devoured. I'm really sorry if you can hear a car alarm going off outside. This fucking street, honestly. We just have to continue. In fear for her life, Thisbe ran as fast as she could, dropping the scarf that she was wearing. The lioness, in smelling Thisbe's scent on the scarf, took it in its jaws and tore it to shreds. Only a few moments later, Pyramus arrived near the tomb at the mulberry tree and was horrified to find his lover missing. The only trace of her that he could find was her ripped up scarf covered in blood. Assuming that the worst had happened to Thisbe and never one to overreact, Pyramus took out his sword, stabbed himself in the heart, killing himself, as he did not want to live without his soulmate. Only a few moments later, however, Thisbe returned to find Pyramus laying dead on the ground, so she too, deciding that she couldn't live without him either, took the sword out of his chest and stabbed herself in the heart, dying, laying in his arms. During their violent suicide, blood spattered all over the nearby mulberry tree, turning the then white mulberries into a deep shade of crimson, and that is the colour that they remain today. So there we have it. Short and sweet one for today. Well, was it sweet? I don't know, it was kind of depressing. If you like this depressing story, you might like my other depressing Greek mythology stories, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. If you'd like to continue the conversation, you can get me on Instagram at kristys_coven. That's KRISTYS_coven. You can also find me on YouTube at Kristy's Coven, where I post a lot of free yoga classes and shit like that, and I'd love to have you join because it's not a coven if it's just me. And until next time, bye!